In this video, the Historic Ordnance series, I'm going to give you information on an old Soviet anti-tank mine. What you see there is a TM-46 heavy metallic anti-tank mine. Now, these were in development 1944, 1945, at the tail end of World War II. The war ended before they were finalized and adopted by the Soviet military. The Soviet military officially adopted them in 1946 as their primary anti-tank mine, replacing all the mines that had been used during World War II. In the mid-1950s, the Soviet military said that these no longer met requirements and they were removed from frontline service, put into emergency war stock. And reportedly in 1987, the Soviet military declared them obsolete even for use in war stock. And between 87 and 89, the Soviet military shipped out every last one that they had in inventory to client states in Africa and Asia. These mines are extremely common in Africa, across the Middle East, and into Asia, primarily Southeast Asia. Now, the Soviets had two models of this mine, the base TM-46 model and an improved version, the TMN-46. The difference between the two of them is that the TMN-46 had a secondary fuse well underneath the mine for attachment of an anti-handling device. And the primary anti-handling devices that were used were MV and MUV, and also the VPF series of booby trap fuses. When those fuses were used, they were attached to a MD5M detonator before attachment into the mine. Both models were reportedly used at the same time, and you cannot tell the difference between the two of them, at least if you see them from above when you're trying to do any type of clearance operation. It says that even in the Russian manuals. There's no visual way to tell the difference between the two. This is done to trip up the deminer to accidentally set off the anti-handling device and blow themselves up. Russian literature says that this is probably the most devious mine in their inventory that has ever been employed, because people expect it's going to be the base model without the anti-handling device. They can't tell that it's the improved model. People get cocky and get injured. Now, this mine was copied by the People's Republic of China, where it is designated the Type 72. And from the information I could find on that, it looks like it is an exact copy of the base TM-46 model, not the TMN-46. Now, some of the information on this. The casing is metallic. It's heavy steel. OD green paint with black lettering, like you can see right here. The height of the mine when the pressure fuse is installed is 4 1/4 inches. When the tilt rod is installed, the height goes up to 10 1/4 inches. Weight of the mine is 19 pounds. The explosive filler is 12.5 pounds, and it is a mix of TNT and ammonite, reportedly a 50-50 mix. Operating temps, -76 degrees Fahrenheit to a max of 140 degrees Fahrenheit. That seems to be an average that I've seen on these mines in Soviet service that had TNT filler. They say max around 140 degrees because past that point it gets to become unstable. These mines can be emplaced either by hand or by a mine layer, either a mechanical mine layer or a mine laying trailer. Now, if this is being put in with the mechanical mine layer or the mine laying trailer, it has to use the MVM pressure fuse. The tilt rod fuse is supposed to only be emplaced through hand emplacement. Now some information on the fuses. This is the MVM pressure fuse. Takes around 440 pounds of pressure to set it off. And this is the pressure fuse upside down with the safety ring or pin removed. This picture is the MV5 tilt rod. Reportedly, it takes between 46 to 120 pounds of pressure on the tilt rod to get it to activate. I'm not sure the exact pressure on that one. Both of those poundages are from the exact same EOD source, the exact same EOD website. Why they have such a huge range in there, I don't know. But according to Russian sources, the tilt rod activates at between 24 and 36 degrees angle. What happens then? Tilt rod gets pushed, cracks the shaft inside here, releasing a striker, activating the fuse. Down here, you see a drawing straight from the Russian manual on the TM-46, and you can see the location of the secondary fuse well for attaching the anti-handling device. Now, the emplacement steps for emplacing a TM-46 with the MVM fuse. And the source for this is the Russian military manual. First, inspect the mine and the fuse for serviceability. At this point, you're either going to travel to where the mine's going to get emplaced, or you can do this next operation at the mine dump. Remove the shipping plug. Then unpack the MVM fuse and screw onto the bottom of it an MD6 detonator. As you can see here, a little copper piece coming out the bottom. It has external threads for screwing into the mine and an internal thread for screwing in the detonator. The detonator is a really small piece, looks like about an inch long, give or take. After the MD6 detonator has been screwed onto the fuse, install the MVM fuse into the mine. At this point, you're either going to emplace the mine, or you set it off on the side waiting for it to get loaded up into the vehicle so that it can be taken to the minefield and then put down the mine chute or put into the ground by the mine layer. But at the emplacement site, you're going to go through and prep it. These can be placed for surface lay or for buried. If you're going to bury it, like in the picture here, the height of the ground is going to be just a little bit below the top of the mine here. And obviously the diameter of the hole is going to be just a little bit larger than the diameter of the mine. And place the mine into the hole and remove the safety pin. The mine is armed at that point. You then camouflage the mine and move on. Now, if this is going out on a mine layer or a mine laying trailer, what you would do, you pick up the mine off the stack, remove the safety pin, put it on the chute so that the mine laying trailer, the plow, whatever you're using, will place it into the ground and cover it up for you. Now, there is a note that once the mine is on the ground and the safety pin has been removed, you should not remove the mine. However, it is considered safe to send the mines down the chute with the pin removed. Now, I'm going to tell you, I do have a discrepancy on this with this. STP-31-18C3-SM-TG, Special Operations Engineer Sergeant. Now the TM-46 is still appearing in the manuals even though it is considered obsolete. And whoever put the information in this manual got it wrong. Now, unbeknownst to whoever it is in Special Forces that entered it in the manual decades ago, there was a change in the production on the TM-46s. The initial run of TM-46s, it didn't have an MV5 fuse, it had just the shipping plug. And how you put the mine in then with that initial run, you removed the shipping plug. You then used an MV5 fuse, attached to it an MD2 detonator, put that inside the mine, and then you would screw the shipping plug back on top. That armed the mine. Whoever wrote the steps inside the manual here does not realize that there is a difference between the MV5 fuse and that initial run that required the MV5 fuse. According to the engineer manual, it says you remove the MV5 fuse, you then install the MV5 fuse with the MD2 detonator, and then you put the MV5 fuse back on top and remove the safety pin. You don't need to do that because all of that stuff is already part of the MV5 fuse. So you do not need to add an MV5 fuse on the inside. See if I can find a page here quick. This is the MV5 fuse, and this is the old style shipping plug. As you see here, the MV5 fuse has everything in it. You do not need to put this inside here because you run the risk you're going to end up scraping the MV5 fuse, the bottom of it, on this fuse system. The Soviets realized after the initial run that this fuse probably was no longer safe enough to be a frontline fuse, and that's where they changed it. So there is that discrepancy, and I thought I'd point it out. Especially anyone from Special Forces that are watching this. You might want to get that changed in the manual. Now, removal of this mine, basically the reverse. You go through, uncover the camouflage, check around the area, make sure there is no secondary protective mines, like you got PMNs or something around it to protect the mine. After you've gone through, uncovered it, you're going to go through and check for anti-handling devices. You're going to check to see if it is a TM-46 or a TMN-46. If you find an anti-handling device on it, blow it in place. If it is a plain TM-46, there is no anti-handling device, you will go through, reinstall the safety pin back into the channel, remove the MV5 fuse from the mine with the detonator. You're then going to remove the mine from the hole using a length of rope. After you pull it away, giving it like 30 seconds, it doesn't explode, you're going to take the mine and the fuse to the mine dump. Before you get to the mine dump, you will remove the MD6 detonator from the bottom of the MV5 fuse. Turn in all three components. Now for emplacement with the tilt rod, pretty much the same. Inspect the mine and inspect the fuse for damage. Everything passes, move to the site of emplacement, prep the area. Dig a hole if that's what you're going to do. If you're going to hide it in vegetation, clear an area in the vegetation. Place the mine into the area where it's going to get emplaced. Remove the shipping plug. You will then pull out the MV5 tilt rod fuse, turn it over and install an MD10 detonator to the bottom of the fuse, then screw the fuse into the top of the mine. Camouflage, move on to the next mine. For removal, essentially the reverse. Go through, check around it, make sure there are no other protective mines around there. Locate the mine, remove the camouflage. Make sure there is no anti-handling devices attached to it. If you find an anti-handling device, blow the mine in place. Do not attempt to disarm. No anti-handling devices located. You will then unscrew the fuse from the mine, attach a length of rope to the carrying handle, back away from the mine, pull the mine out of the hole, reinstall the shipping plug. You will remove the MD10 detonator from the tilt rod fuse and turn in all three components to the mine dump for later reuse. Now, if you're going to install it with the anti-handling device, you would go through, prep your hole, and then you're going to attach the anti-handling device to the mine, put it down there into the hole, tie off the tripwire or whatever it is for means of initiation to its anchor point. You're going to arm the booby trap fuse. You're going to backfill the dirt around it, stabilizing it as much as possible. You're going to install the fuse onto it with detonator, and then camouflage and move on. And even the Russian military says, destroy the mines if there's an anti-handling device on there. Do not attempt removal. So there you go, the information on a obsolete mine which is still found across Asia, Africa, and the Middle East. The old Soviet TM-46 heavy metallic anti-tank mine. Now for strength on these, I'll just finish out with this. The reason it was declared no longer suitable for frontline service in the 1950s, even in the 1950s, they found all it would do is break the track on the tank. It would not disable it. That's why it was removed from service. But it is more than powerful enough to take out a lightly armed vehicle, such as a cargo truck, a Jeep, Humvee, something along those lines. It will not damage an MRAP beyond taking out one tire. Now, for all my engineer brothers in the Patriot Militia movements, always remember, essay ons.